Okay, yeah, ready.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Hyde. I'm your presiding member today, and I'll open the meeting for this Regional Development Assessment Panel, Tuesday, 1st of July. Declare the meeting open at 9:30 a.m. I would like to acknowledge we're hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation and are joined by people from other lands around the state. And we acknowledge Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respects to elders past and present, and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters and community. The meeting will be run in accordance with the RDAP Standing Orders 2024 under the Planning and Development Assessment Panels Regulations 2011. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the RDAP website in accordance with section 42A of those regulations. Members are reminded to announce their name and title prior to speaking. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them. I'll introduce the members for this meeting. As I say, my name is Karen Hyde. I'm the presiding member. Also in the room with me is Clayton Hyam, Deputy Presiding Member. On screen, our panel members are Nima Premji, Specialist Member, and our two local government DAP members from the Shire of Northam, Councillor Julie Williams and Councillor Des Hughes. Welcome, everybody. Item 2, we have apologies from Councillor Maria Girac, local government DAP member, Shire of Northam. Item 3, we have no members on leave of absence. Item 4, noting of minutes. Minutes from previous meetings are available on the DAP website. So part B of our agenda for the Shire of Northam. We also have officers John Meggett and Cobus Nevoit, and we have applicants and submitters Nick Hidding and Tony Johansson available for this part of the meeting. Now, I'll seek declarations of due consideration first. Could members with a show of hands please confirm that they have duly considered all the documentation in Part B and related information? Thank you very much. That's due consideration given by all. Declarations of interest. Did panel members have any declarations they wish to raise? Could I please ask the councillors whether this matter was considered at a council meeting?
No, this matter has not come to a council meeting.
Lovely, thank you. Therefore, we've got no further declarations to raise today. So, moving ahead to the item and presentations accordingly. Lot 881, number 239 Yilgarn Avenue, Northam, which is an unlisted use, otherwise wastewater treatment facility. We have two presentations today on behalf of the applicant. They're limited to 3 minutes, and so we'd encourage you to focus on the main aspects verbally within that time frame, and then I'll open for the panel to ask you questions. So first in order, we have Tony Johansson, who is presenting in support of the application and explaining the technology to us.
Yes, I'm Director of TMC Witchcliff, which is a plant very similar to what we're going to be putting at Northam, and also Director of some other wastewater companies that I own in the southwest. The system that we're proposing is quite advanced for the Australian standard, and it doesn't really reflect a normal wastewater plant in that all the vessels are fully sealed. There's no contact with the atmosphere, and any of the gases that are generated in the biological process are extracted and absorbed onto various media, so there's no odour in the area, and they're the key points. Essentially, it's an advanced system, it's closed, and all gases are absorbed, so you don't have anything to the environment. So it is a standard wastewater biological system. There's no additional technology that we're putting onto it. At the Northern site, we will do some post-treatment, which is nanofiltration, just to ensure that the quality of the water will exceed all expectations. The raw water is pH balanced before it goes into the reactors, and that's with magnesium hydroxide. Then another chemical, which is also potable, is added at the very end to ensure that most of the sludges are separated from the water. The dead bacteria is a classic situation in a wastewater plant, which we term sludge. In this particular process, we will be initially bagging the sludge into 20 kg bags, which are dewatered sludge, and be taken off-site by Cleanaway. The next proposal will be a biochar plant that will utilise that material and turn it into an A-grade land application. The advantages of that is that all the nasties associated in the sludges, the PFAS, the microplastics, the pharmaceuticals, the endocrine blockers, go on and on and on, are essentially destroyed and removed from the environment, as opposed to other wastewater plants where that's allowed to go to the environment. Now, my approach to wastewater is to exceed the expectations of the regulators and to also provide a facility that the community would enjoy to look at aesthetically. In the Margaret River area, I've been questioned whether it's a winery or a brewery. No, it's a wastewater plant, but it looks like a winery and it's deliberately designed that way. We will do the same thing in Northam and have sort of architecture that will fit the local architecture of that area, so it won't sit out like, dog's thumb. And I'm very proud of the way that I build facilities. I build them to last the time.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Hidding from Hidding Urban Planning is speaking in support of the application.
Thank you, Presiding Member, and good morning, everybody. Hidding Urban Planning acts for the proponent for this proposed wastewater treatment facility to go into the proposed Avon West Industrial Estate in Northam. Subdivision approval has been granted for the first stage of the Avon West Industrial Estate, providing opportunity for the proponent to start earthworks and preliminary road construction. So Avon West will be a premier 62-hectare industrial estate, strategically positioned as one of the most well-connected centres out of the Perth CBD. It's a very exciting project for the region and it's expected to have a lot of interest in the coming months and years as the project rolls out. The first development for this Avon West estate is this wastewater treatment facility, enabling all of the resultant development sites to be well connected for wastewater. And the Planning Commission, in approving the first stage subdivision, supported the use of a private wastewater treatment facility to service the estate instead of relying on standard reticulated sewerage, which is not available in this area. Normally, construction of a wastewater treatment facility for a state like this would not require to have a development approval. However, the commercial operation of this facility, which includes the taking of waste from external sites, is a commercial operation and it requires to have a development approval for the land use as well. It is being treated as an unlisted use. It doesn't fit neatly into any of the described or defined land use classes in the Shire of Northam planning scheme. And it's been assessed that way by the Shire. It went out for public advertising as is required for a use not listed, and no submissions were received from the public. We went out to referral authorities, all of which are supportive of the project. We've reviewed the Shire's Responsible Authority report set out in the agenda today. We note the recommendation for approval, which we support. We did have a chance to review draft conditions before the RAR was published, which was good. And we confirm that we don't have any difficulty with the conditions that are recommended. So we'd ask that the DAP simply adopt those conditions as recommended. And we'd seek approval of this first stage development project in the estate, which will then enable many other developments to start making their way into the estate in the coming months.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll invite panel members to ask any questions of the presenters that they may have. We'll start with the elected members on screen. Councillor Williams, did you have any questions?
No, I don't, thank you.
Councillor Hughes, did you have any questions?
No, it's all very clear to me.
Thank you very much. Ms. Premji, you had your hand up. Yes, questions?
Yes, I do have a few questions, technically. The wastewater, the water that is to be pumped to the racing track, what will be its pH be?
I would just say that it will mirror Witchcliffe. The pH will it's steady on 7.
Okay.
So it's just the way that when we add magnesium hydroxide, that it does buffer the system and it doesn't move too much off 7.
Do you have online testing?
Yes.
The water is pumped out, and that will be recorded, so it would be available if anyone wanted to have a look at, if there's any potential problems down the road.
The software that we use is SCADA, which is System Control and Data Acquisition.
Yep.
And that enables us to report back to the regulators or the parameters of discharge. We also have online monitoring offline monitoring that we take samples for our own needs.
Okay, well, I'm familiar with SCADA, as I understand. The next one is you mentioned the sludge being taken away off site in 20 kilogram bags. Are they bulker bags or similar to bulker bags?
No, the watering system is very neat and tidy. It's out of Italy, so we add some flocculant to the discharge sludge. That goes into 20 litre bags, 30 litre bags, and dewatered termed leaky bags or geo bags.
Oh, okay.
And we get it up to about 15% solids, 20% solids in the bags. If necessary, we put them outside into the environment, and just the solar radiation takes it up to about 50% solids. The bags are fully sealed. There's water comes out. There's no odour, and no vermin can get into the bags. At Witchcliffe, once a week, we put 3 bags into a wheelie bin. That's taken away as general waste to the municipal tip. That's what we'll be doing in the initial stages, because the carboniser, at this stage, we don't know the size of it. We don't know what other applications that we can put together for it. I've got an application for a carboniser in Witchcliffe, which is in a very advanced stage. This month we're being visited by the National Innovation Grant Scheme. They're quite excited that this type of system that I'm proposing will eventually become a standard piece of kit in all wastewater plants. So it's a very exciting time for me personally.
That's good. Congratulations. So overall, you're a zero discharge site. Would that be correct, into the environment?
Yes, that's the whole idea. Being connected with the Witchcliffe Eco Village, the philosophies of that community is that it has to be a sustainable practice. At the moment, the water's going to an avocado plantation, and the solids are going away to the municipal tip. The aim is to reprocess those solids and return it to the village, and form this circular economy that the village is promoting on all their activities. And I don't see Northam as being any different to that. The process works, the community endorse it, and we just don't have any problems. It's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. The difference with the Northam plant is we are putting some advanced treatment on the back end of the treated water to give us 100% insurance that no pathogens will leave. Disinfection is through chlorine, but with this membrane system we don't need chlorine, but we will have chlorine because that's a regulation that is required. So we've got a number of fail-safes in the whole process.
Thank you, presiding member. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those questions and answers. Mr. Hyam, did you have questions?
Thank you. I just need a bit of an explanation with the biochar.
Yeah.
Is that fertiliser or is it?
No, it's not. It's termed P-char because it's got a high concentration between 1 to 11% of phosphorus, and that's available for plants. Throughout Europe, it's well sought after and get up to $1,000 a tonne. But it's not a fertiliser. It's an additive to the soil which enables fertiliser to stay in the soil. If you have a look at an electron microscope at the biochar, it looks like a wasp nest, for want of a better thing, a whole series of tubes. So those tubes enable bacteria to grow as well, good bacteria, and for the fertiliser to enter into those and not leach into the soil. So the biochar will last in the soil for up to 1,000 years. So it's a one-off application.
The RAR talks about it being a secondary byproduct of the process, then goes on to say that the wastewater treatment facility is not a dedicated facility designed for production of fertiliser. Such a facility would be more appropriately located in general industry zone. So I was trying to get the distinction.
Yeah, it's not the carbonisers can be used for many items. Europe, it's for green waste. It's got a big application there. In Indonesia, they're using it for palm fibres. So you can use a lot of things for it. Its main purpose is a 90% reduction in the volume of solids for a wastewater plant. The biggest one in Australia is at Logan. They produce over 1,000 tonnes of sludge, and they get that down to 100 tonnes, which is, and they're selling that. They're selling that as a soil additive.
So with the biochar that comes out of this facility, is it bagged up and then sold?
Yes, that's what I envisaged it. If it's for mums and dads, it'd be most probably put in 10 kg bags. But as I said, we haven't really discussed the size of the facility as yet. The Witchcliff one is only 1 tonne. Would fit in this room. It's very, very small, and its prime activity is to remove that material from landfill and land application. Land application is the worst thing of this sludge.
So if we approve this today, then has the amount of traffic coming to collect this stuff or whatever been considered in the TIA?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect. It's very low density. It's you could put it in the back of a 1 tonne ute. To be honest, we wouldn't be producing hundreds of tonnes. It's a very, very small amount. As I said, its prime purpose is to reduce the waste volume and the discharge to municipal tips or landfill, but also, from my point of view, to remove all the toxins, the ones I'm talking about, the PFAS, the microplastics, the pharmaceuticals, the endocrine blockers, all those sort of things that are well documented and well known. Australia are the worst country, for discharging this stuff to land application, because those microcontaminants are not removed from the food cycle. So this is an initiative, and this is why we're getting the innovation grant excited and involved in this, that we're breaking that cycle of recycling all these microcontaminants for our bodies.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. A couple of questions for Mr. Hidding. I know that you said that you had reviewed the conditions and that you're reasonably comfortable with condition 12, for instance, which is in accordance with the EP regulations, not strictly a planning matter.
As in further licensing processes,
Yeah.
The DAP has in past chosen not to add those conditions because they're required processes that occur anyway. So I'll leave it to you to decide whether that's.
I will ask the Shire
We're
office.
okay with it because we know it's going to happen, and Tony's going to take charge of that post development approval is to go through licensing or other.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask the Shire officers all these questions as well. And condition 11 requires, and you've prepared a bushfire management plan, obviously, as it's referenced here, but looking through some of the assessment, it says that this is not in a bushfire prone area as such. And then I think in some of your application, it sort of says, well, there's just a bit of it, but that's going to be cleared as part of the ongoing development. So are there any onerous obligations from that condition?
Not that we're aware of. I think the site in itself is just outside of the bushfire prone area. We did prepare a bushfire management plan for the Avon West subdivision application because it's a broader subdivision application. So there is a bushfire management plan that relates to the estate in general. And I think compliance with that BMP would be okay to continue complying with in a general sense.
Okay. And as far as condition 13 goes, which talks to prior to commencement of operations, and yet 13 Roman numeral 3 talks about the facility is operating in accordance with, how How is your understanding about how you would meet the requirements of that condition? Condition 13.
You able to read that one out? I can't.
It might just be a case that 13.3 might need to be the facility will operate rather than is operating, because it can't operate if it has to have that condition cleared prior to commencement of operations. But I'll seek some clarity of the Shire officers. I just wondered if you had considered how you would deal with that condition.
Commissioning report and compliance report. Yeah, Tony is handling the compliance piece afterwards.
Yeah, that's generally, there's a number of permits. One is a permit to construct an apparatus, and another permit is to operate an apparatus. And in that, to operate an apparatus, there's a commissioning period that is nominated and advised back to the Director of DWER.
Right. Okay. So that might be a matter again beyond the planning process, but I'll ask the Shire officers for clarity. Thank you for those answers. If there are no other questions of the presenters, I will open question time for the panel of John Meggett and Cobus Newvote, who are the officers from the Shire. Councillor Williams, did you have any questions for the officers?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hughes, did you have questions of the officers?
No, I don't have any, thanks.
Thank you. Ms Premji, you have your hand up. You have questions?
Yes, thank you, presiding member. To the officers, condition number 9. The second sentence, the plan shall address system failures. My question to you is a clarification. Are you looking at any part of the operation? Is there, or do you need, when you say system failures, it could be IT, it could be a process failure, operational. Have you sort of looked at, are you implying it's anything and everything? Just need a bit of clarification when you're saying system failures. That's a very a whole range of things. So is there an understanding between yourself and the applicant what that system failures encapsulates?
Sorry, Mr Maggot, I can see your lips moving, but we can't hear any sound from you. No, still not getting any sound through. Mr Newvote, could you?
Yes, I was the person responsible for penning some of these conditions. As you can appreciate, it's a somewhat unusual one. Only for the reason that many times these kind of facilities or similar would be approved through works approval processes. And but I applied myself, and I think in that particular context, in regards to system failures, my intent was, basically, just, a collective term, for, the system as a whole, so, every, single, component that actually, makes it run.
Okay, so you're looking for that to be addressed in the emergency response and incident management plan.
That is correct.
Right, okay. So has there been a risk assessment put to you by the applicant in this particular process?
No.
Okay. So you're saying anything, the whole facility?
Yes, that was the general intent.
Okay, all right. If you don't mind, presiding member,
Yes.
can I please get a clarification from the applicant?
Okay, yeah. So your understanding of what's required under condition 9.
Emergency response and incident management.
Okay. All I will talk about is what we do generally. on any sort of wastewater plant. The first contingency is to have enough storage. That's wastewater storage. That's around about 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days buffering capacity. That has multiple advantages in that I'm a bacteria farmer, and what I need to do is feed that bacteria. I can't have that food run out, so having storage is very good. The other flip side of that is that if there's any pump failures at any time, we have got a buffer capacity there. And our normal procedure is to engage a contract with a licensed carter, that in the case that the facility has a catastrophic failure, and that would be due to a geological problem or a climate problem, like what we get on the East Coast, where a lot of wastewater plants get washed out. Water Corporation are not insulated from that. They have the same area. As soon as there's a downpour, trucks are going everywhere, cleaning out various areas that are being flooded. And it's a standard procedure, and that's the procedure that we endorse for Northam, and it's what we apply for and currently do at Witchcliff. We've been operating for 2.5 years, 2 winters, a couple of floods, not one drop's gone to the environment.
Thank you.
So that would be part also of the application for ERA, for your license requirements?
It's not through the ERA. The ERA are more concerned with the welfare of mum and dads, and that the facility is continuous, so that they have sewer service available 24/7. And in the case of any failure, huge failure, that there's enough money available for organisations like Water Corp to come in and take over Rains or replace the Witchcliff one. I think was 100 million in security.
Okay.
That came from the parent group. In this case here, I don't know what the conditions are and what the ERA will apply, but the ERA do not concern themselves with bacteria or pollution.
Okay. Right.
Have other questions?
No, thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harm, questions of the officers?
Thank you. Mr. Maggott, I don't know if you're online yet or... No.
No, we still haven't got any volume from you, unfortunately, Mr. Maggott. Your volume's up full as well as you're not on mute, I can see that, but just wonder if your volume control needs to go up a bit.
Voice activation.
Ask him to go down here, try and change the speech.
It's a different microphone.
Speak on that.
Do you have a different speaker control that you can activate?
John, there's a small arrow next to the mute, unmute button there. If you click on that little arrow there, you may have to change your settings there.
No, okay.
No.
All right, I'll ask.
Put your question, Mr. Hyman, and we'll see who else can answer.
I'm referring to condition 8. My understanding is that that licence is required anyway under different legislation, and that is something that is addressed after an approval, planning approval. So, 2 things. Do you accept that that may not be a planning condition and would be better as an advice note, given those circumstances?
Through the chair, yes, I do. I agree.
Thank you. Does the same apply to 13.2, which seems to capture the ERA licence process as well?
Through the chair, yes, in principle, I do agree with you.
Okay. And just for, I guess, the advice note 1 probably needs to become a condition, as it normally is, with a 4-year approval period. Is that acceptable from an officer's point of view?
I think we have that.
Okay, thank you.
I think that is.
I'd like to bring just one point, is that the ERA licence is an extremely expensive exercise. It requires a lot of time and effort and ongoing. We will be looking at an exemption from the ERA because this is a commercial facility and not a mums and dads facility. All the sites will have their own contracts with the provider. We may not get an exemption, but to get an exemption, we need a permit from DOH, a permit from DWR. Once we get those permits, within the legislation, we can apply for an exemption from the ERA due to X amount of conditions, and that's what we will be pursuing.
Thank you. I mean, all I'm doing is trying to make the distinction between a planning
Yes.
approval condition and a condition that relates to some other legislation.
Do you have other questions? Okay, thank you. So you don't.
Through the chair, if I may, I do apologise. I've just noted the first advice note speaks to a period of 2 years, but in condition 1, suggests 3 years. So, there is an inconsistency there. I do apologise. I've only noticed it now.
That's all right, thank you. I have a couple of questions. One relates to that condition 13, Roman numeral 3, and just seeking some clarity from you as to what's required. So the condition is to be covered prior to commencement of operations, and yet the wording of 13.3 at the moment is to do with the facility actually operating in accordance. So I just wonder if you could provide a little clarity around how 13.3 might be, whether it's necessary or if it needs to be rephrased.
Through the chair, thank you very much. I think my rationale for that was just a statement. There I just assumed that before the system will be commissioned and become operational, the facility would be tested and all the boxes ticked
Yes.
to the effect that it is actually working as intended and designed. With respect to whether or not we could potentially change the tenses to that, I think that may also suffice, or
Yes.
just struck in its entirety.
Or we could say something like the facility is capable of operating, something like that, which alludes to the future without it necessarily needing to be up and commenced. Yes.
I agree with you. Yes.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that. And in terms of, I read somewhere I think in the assessment that the underlying reserve here is for a church. Is that correct? No, it's in the assessment.
My colleague John Meggett and I, we have also pick that up. I think John, was going to allude to that as well.
Right.
And it's just a cut and paste error.
Okay.
You may
I think
recognize that one from the last item, to do with St John's.
Yes, I did wonder if that was the case, but I thought I'd ask in case it wasn't, and there needed to be some other planning process that needed to be gone through. But thank you very much for that. That's okay. All right, I don't have any further questions, and if there are no other questions of the officers from the panel, what we'll do is move ahead with the item. And in the first instance, we should understand that the responsible authority report is recommending to us that we accept this as a waste treatment facility compatible with the objectives of light and serviced industry. and that secondly, we therefore approve it subject to a number of conditions and advice notes. So do I have a mover for that as the primary motion, please?
I'll move that.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Hughes. Thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you, Ms Premji. Okay. Councillor Hughes, as mover, would you like to speak to the motion? Just take yourself off mute, councillor. That's
A
it.
bit broadly about the whole thing, but to me it looks a very well designed unit, and what I've read, it all looks good to me. And I think Northam and the Avon Valley will be looking forward to this whole hub to eventuate. And with a few minutes ago talking about there may be flooding, I've lived in Northam all my life, and I'm actually fifth generation, and I've never heard of a flood or anything there. The water where it's going on the racetrack is just across a little bit from it. And bushfire, there's a bushfire there either. So to me, it's in a good spot. And I just hope everything goes well with it, which it will, I'm sure. But that's all I can really say about it.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Ms Premji, as seconder, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I agree with Councillor Hughes. It's very well designed, planned, operated, and of course, great advancement in engineering. The treatment plant is compatible with the objectives of the light and service industry zone. And also, it's a very good example of a circular economy. So I completely concur and agree with accept the RA recommendations.
Thank you very much. Other speakers on the motion? Councillor Williams, did you wish to speak to the motion?
No, I agree wholeheartedly with what has already been said, though. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr Hyam, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, look, based on the definitions in the scheme, I agree it's a use not listed, and I also agree that the use is consistent with the objectives and requirements of the scheme. It's a good facility for the estate and the region. I congratulate the applicant, and it's providing necessary water for the Avon Racing Club, which is a fantastic side benefit. I note that it's, as I've said before, I note it's required to obtain a licence from ERA, and as such, I would like to make a couple of amendments, if I may.
Yes.
Chair. This is a double banger, I suppose, but to delete advice note 1.
Yes.
And to delete condition 8 as a condition and replace it as advice note 1.
I'm happy to second that. Would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, as I've said before, it is probably not it's not a planning condition. It relates to other legislation, and it is a process which has to happen anyway. So I think as an advice note, that's adequate at this stage. And of course, the deletion of current advice note 1 is just a double up on the condition 1 in general conditions.
Yes, thank you. I concur with that. Any other speakers on amendment 1? If not, we'll put amendment 1 to the vote. Those in favour? That's a unanimous decision. Thank you. Back to you, Mr Hyam.
Just to then pick up on much the same theme, in 13.2, I'm proposing the wording after permits able to be obtained at this stage. So it would read all relevant approvals, licences and permits able to be obtained at this stage have been obtained and are current.
I again am happy to second that. Mr Hyam, would you like to speak to it?
That's just to make sure that it doesn't put the cart before the horse where it's trying to get an ERA approval at this stage where we know it comes after the event. So that's the reason, Chair.
Yes, I concur. I think that builds in some flexibility and efficiency so that we're not holding up other stages of work subject to that. Any other speakers on Amendment 2? Let's put Amendment 2 to the vote then. Those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Back with you, Mr. Hine.
That's all I've got.
All right, thank you. I will speak to the motion. I'm very comfortable to accept this as a facility in this location and happy to accept it as compatible with the overall zoning because I feel that it does service and provide essential infrastructure to the industrial and logistics area. I do note that there are some commercial elements to it, which is why we are considering it as a development application. I think that the development satisfies the objectives of the zone, and it certainly seems to comply with the development standards as well. And it is also consistent with the requirements of subdivision. Therefore, there's a lot of compatibility in there. I congratulate the applicant on bringing this forward. It is a super innovative process. I think it's hopefully a way of the future for some of these regional industrial areas. And I like the fact that it is already functioning elsewhere at Witchcliffe, which is an award-winning project. And so we can understand how it works and how that technology can be built upon to improve even more. And having looked at it as a completely enclosed development, I don't find there to be any significant impact at all on adjacent land uses. Traffic is minor, and note there were no public submissions, so I'm very happy to support it. I would propose an amendment, however, and that is Amendment 3 to Condition 13, Roman numeral 3, which I propose should read, the facility, and insert the words is capable of operating, and then continue with the rest of that. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Mr. Hyam seconds that. That's simply as discussed with the officer to be very clear about, again, what stage the development needs to be at in order to clear that condition. Did you wish to speak to it? Any other speakers on Amendment 3? If not, let's put Amendment 3 to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. I don't have anything further to say on the matter, so I'd return to Councillor Hughes as mover to right of reply, close debate.
Well, no one's spoken against it, so I think it's all go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's put the matter to the vote. Those in favour of the substantive with amendments? Thank you. That's unanimous. That draws that item to a close. Just very quickly to go through the rest of the agenda, we have no Form 2 and no Section 31 reconsiderations. In terms of other applications in front of SAT, there's nothing for the Shire. There are other regional matters before the SAT at the moment. And that being the end of the meeting, I'd like to thank Councillor Williams and Councillor Hughes for their attendance and the Shire staff. Thank the panel members, the presenters and the Secretariat, and close the meeting at 10:13.